Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new phrase I've coined. Not gentlemen, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. God bless all of us. God bless this planet. God bless America. I am trying, as are you, to sift through what happened last night. We were up till 12. I don't know. Normally beyond my bedtime because we're early risers, but it was something the likes of which we can't put into words, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of how great this was. But we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be going through this very, very carefully. And the thing we're not going to do is we're not going to incorporate what we like with what we saw. And that's very difficult for people to do this. There are people to say, oh, I think J.D. Vance killed it. Did you like J.D. Vance before? Well, of course I did. Well, okay. But what do you mean, what about? There is no what about. He nailed it. He killed it. Okay. But did you think this before? Yes, I did. I most certainly did. Yes. Okay, we're not going to do that. But he killed it. Last night, no matter how you look at this, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter your inclination, political or otherwise, they must be saying to him, well, this was even worse. He actually did worse than Gamala did. He actually did worse. And if the goal is to pick a candidate worse than you are, do it. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, get ready. There is so much going on, so much happening in the world, so much. I'm hearing things. I don't even know what to tell you. I have all of my investigators out and about looking at what they're saying, and what people are saying about the impending dock strike blows my mind. I thought I heard some great, I don't want to use the word conspiracy theory, but I'll use it the way they say. I've never heard anything like this ever. Now, let me also tell you something, dear friends. And listen to me very, very carefully. There is something that is happening. There are two things I'm hearing. Number one, talks about this Verizon outage. And two, some wild stuff about the reason for the dock strikes. Now, again, there's no way to act. I don't pick the wildest story and stick to it. But what I'm telling you is that there is something there. Before we begin, I want you to listen. Very carefully. Yet again, this is because this means more. We'll get to this debate, I promise you. But I want you to listen very carefully to this fellow. Remember this guy?
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in.
You watching this?
The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
Now that is a union organizer, the likes of which, and you can say whatever you want. You can say, well, it's a union, it's a Democrat, whatever it is. All I'm saying is get ready. And I'm telling you right now, preparewithlionel.com. This is the link. I just put it up. It's also in the description section. There are folks going to Costco and seeing and quote, they're stocking up. It's hard to tell at Costco when they're stocking up and when they're just buying. Friends, listen to me. Preparewithlionel.com. Go and find the deal that works for you. Guns, water, ammo, energy. I don't know what to tell you. I know nobody wants to hear this, but it's true. You know it, and I know it. Preparewithlionel.com. Got a special deal for you right now, but go there. The link is attached. Now, last night, J.D. Vance was superb. He was superb. Like nothing. For those who thought, well, I wasn't that big of a fan of his before. He's okay. Last night was somebody conduct himself in a way that was so respectful. It was courteous. It was mature. It was, I don't know what other words can better describe how much people like him. And if they like him, they will like Trump more. In the cases of those people who might not have liked Trump before, Too Legit says, thank you for being here. No Legit, thank you, sir. Or ma'am, I don't know. Let's go to a couple of moments that everybody's talking about, and let's put them into perspective, okay?
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily...
By the way, this woman, I don't know who she is, but I detest her, okay? I detest her to the very core of my being. Did you see that pink jacket? There was a whole group of folks on social media. What's it called, honey? For her? Yeah, for her. People. Who were the other ones wearing pink? Who were the other celebrities were wearing pink? She's blatantly, absolutely coming out and saying, I'm the one, I'm in charge. And Norah O'Donnell, she's on her way out. She figured, what the hell do I have to lose? Look, Trump is going to need somebody as a spokesman when he wins. Who knows? Maybe Norah's pitching. I doubt it. There's no way she can possibly do it. In any event, don't let this pink jacket, it was all over social media for her, they were saying. Now listen to this.
Pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible.
He's absolutely right. And if you think, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. And before we get to this question, but you listen to Uncle Lenny and you listen good. If you think that you're going to win listening to this saber-rattling nonsense about going after and getting a standing by Bibi, and right here, baby, more. Here you go. How much you need? How many more? 2,000 bombs? Great. You're doing terrific. If you think American diplomacy, if you think is making Israel not the 51st state, but the District of Columbia, you're out of your mind. And if you think that turning your back on the Middle East, up to and including Iran because they're so evil. If you don't know what the Middle East is thinking, and I'm not asking you to take sides, I'm not asking you to like any of these people. I don't care whether you like them or not. Understand what we're talking about here. Do you know what happened yesterday? Let me just explain something. Do you know what the world is saying about what Iran did or Hezbollah, about this rain of rockets? You know what the headlines were? If you read Fox, they didn't touch us. They didn't hurt us. They didn't do this. The other one said, what about Iron Dome? What about Iron Dome? They're laughing. Again, I'm not taking sides. I'm an American in this. But if you think that somehow you're going to just shame Iran out of existence or not deal with it, you're out of your mind. That's all I'm saying.
Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Waltz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Waltz, you blame Donald Trump, who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years. And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led.
What are these notes? Let me just stop right there. All night long, what are these notes? He's writing these notes. He's taking notes. He got this bad haircut. He's got the notes. He's writing the notes. And if I didn't know better, I think that's the first time I've seen a lapel pin on old Coach there. He didn't know. He just, the body language, the affect, the way he spoke, it was timorous, frightened. He just was unfamiliar. He just was. I don't think he scored one moment, one victory, one gotcha throughout the entire event.
Led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October.
See this? Look at the nervousness. Look at the nervousness. Like, what?
Over the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Waltz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their
look how nervous he is. He goes, help me, help me. Maybe he's waiting for some frequency in the earpiece to kick in.
proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So
look at this. Look at this. He's looking back and forth like, oh my God, you got me there.
Governor Waltz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before. Ask yourself at home, when was the last?
It's like he's nervous. He looks like a defendant. Like his lawyer is entering the plea and the defendant's looking at him like, am I going to go to jail?
I'm 40 years old. When was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump.
Look at this. Notes. More notes. Now listen again. Listen, Uncle Lenny. You don't want to go to Iran. You don't want to talk about that. Believe me when I tell you this. You don't want to talk about Israel. But trust me. Why they went there, I have no idea. Why they went there. That issue is not happening. It's not being addressed. But let me tell you something. It did not happen October the 7th. It did not happen October the 7th. Everybody says that's the starting point. That's not when this happened. Again, do you want to understand the Middle East or you want to take sides? If you do, that's fine. I've got friends of mine who Iran is terrible. Okay, fine. Whatever it is. Do you want to understand it or not? And then there was the night, the light. This was the phrase that pays.
This idea that we should just live with it. And I here's what I do think, that this is a good start to the conversation. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree with that. But that's not far enough when we know there are things that worked. I've spent time in Finland.
I don't know what that means, but we'll get to this in a moment.
And seen some Finnish schools. They don't have this happen.
Did you hear
Even
that?
though they have a high gun ownership rate. Finnish schools. They don't have this happen. No, there are things that worked. I've spent time in Finland and seen some Finnish schools. They don't have this happen. Wow. Even though they have a high gun ownership rate in the country. There are reasonable things that we can do to make it.
Okay. The one I wanted to know was I've known some shooters. I don't know what that means. That was a mistake, obviously. This broke my heart. You know what this is?
Shooters during the debate.
This is Justino's Pizza. This is in the hood. This is our favorite pizza 57th and 9th, 57th and 10th. Justino's Pizza is the best pizza. Everybody who's ever been, it's the best. And here he is in our beloved Justino's, trying to avoid the questioning by pretending he can't hear. Remember, he said he couldn't hear during the field sobriety test because of an old war or National Guard injury. Listen to this. He won't answer the question.
Governor, you said you've become friends with school shooters during the debate. Can you clarify what you meant on that?
Can you clarify when you said you become friends with school shooters? He's now fascinated by pizza. He's never seen pizza before. What is this? It's called pizza? This is bread. It looks like bread, which, it is bread. It's like a bread. It's like a pie. It looks like a pie. They call it a pie. Pizza. Is this Italian? Well, not really. Oh, I see. Most ethnicities, they have their own version of it. Oh, I see.
Can you clarify what you meant when you said you befriended school shooters?
Now, this pizza, they come in various sizes. I noticed some of these pizzas are square. This is called a margarita. This is called a grandma's pizza. I see. Oh, this is, and those round things. Oh, pepperoni. Is that what you call them?
Why did you say you were in Hong Kong when reports say you weren't?
And so people call in, they order the pizza. So this man back there, oh, it's dough. Oh, they have an oven. See, this is you own it. You say, you make a joke. You could say, let me tell you something. If I didn't know better, I'm thinking mind control. Somebody sent me some friends with serial shooters. No, I don't know what I was thinking. Either that or I think maybe, who knows, maybe some Russian interference, maybe some mind control. Okay, that was a moment. Is that the end of it? No, it's not. Are Tim lies hurting the Dems, Raul? Yes, they're not helping. Kelly McKinnon says, Lionel celebrating JD's success last night. Absolutely, we all are. Edie Crowley says, the face the nation lady. Despise her. Crypto says, Big Dick from Chicago. That was Out fart from far from Finland. I don't know what that is. Crypto throws some things at me. Always keeps me on my toes. Thank you, my friend. Now, let's go through this. First of all, we can go through this moment and that. Does each moment matter? Yes. Individually? No. Collectively. Collectively, they matter. It's the feelings. Like I told you before, it's like the feeling you get when you look to the West. And I think they said it best. Led Zeppelin. Tim Walz is only 60 years old. Doesn't he look older to you? Not that that matters, but doesn't he look significantly older to you? It's incredible. He looks significantly older. And when he went home last night, and I know, they were telling him, like, look, it doesn't matter. What do you mean it doesn't matter? You are going to be in the history. Oh, a wet fart from Finland. Thank you. Thank you, Crypto. You always keep me on my toes, my friend. You got to make me think, what did he mean by that? Now, understand a couple of things, which is very critical. Very, very critical, dear friends. Understand something. Remember, history repeats itself. First as a tragedy, second as a farce. This is, of course, Karl Marx. And what we're seeing right now is he will, for the rest of his life, for the rest of American history, in every how do I say this? In every reel, in every moment, in every from the, I knew Jack Kennedy, and you remember Lloyd Benson with Dan Quayle, and you, sir, are no Jack Kennedy. That was a moment, the moment of ring. He says, well, there you go again. Probably the biggest boner, which is the word for a big mistake, as it were, one of the worst ever, was when Gerald Ford said that there is no Soviet or no whatever involvement or inclusion or presence in Eastern Europe. I mean, these are moments, but this will be there. I told you yesterday what I wanted. I wanted one message. I wanted one moment that everybody would remember for the rest of time. I wanted this one moment where people would say, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear what he had to say? Did you what? Did you hold what? Did you hear? Did I hear what?" That's what I wanted. Everybody is talking about that. Everybody is talking about, I've known school shooters. Now, I told you something before, and I'm going to say it again. Uncle Lenny likes to repeat stuff, so I'm going to do it. And it goes something like this. We live in a world today where people wait for a TikTok moment. Nobody's going to be sitting here and sifting through the various answers. Nobody's going to be looking through an event to see who covered and who was more cogent. You wanted that kind of a knockout moment. I would have done things differently. Why? I'm a prick. I'm a different person. J.D. Vance is a nice person. I don't know if that's the way he is. I don't know if that's the way he was. I don't know. But he was himself, and he was as cool and as collected. Could he have been the wonderful counterbalance to a more contumacious, more brazen, more loud, more obstreperous Donald Trump? Of course. Of course he could have. Could it have been as a, yes, of course. There's yes, of course. This goes without saying. There's no doubt. Yes. I know, yes. But here's the thing. I would have done something that would have made people remember it. And one of the issues that would have driven him crazy, and you know it's true, you know it, is I would have said, Coach, and I would have thrown that one in, Coach, a little dig, Command Sergeant Major, Sergeant, I would throw this, Mr. Ivy, Mr. IUE, there is a place in this country called Springfield, Ohio, and they're hurting. They're hurting right now, Governor Waltz. They're hurting. And when they came before the people, when they told the rest of the world, you laughed at them. You thought it was funny. You immediately dismissed what they were saying. You didn't care what they were saying. You didn't listen to them. You dismissed everything that they said. There's a country, there's a wonderful city, Springfield, Ohio, 68,000 people, 20,000 people, all of a sudden being deluged, it's like the rains of Helene with Haitians. Nothing wrong with Haitians. But the poorest of the poor, Governor Walz, dropped out of nowhere. OA says it best. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Dropped out of nowhere. And these people can't drive, and they were given licenses. And then, Governor Walz, when they came before, I didn't say this, you didn't say this, but when the good people of Springfield came before their city fathers and mothers and those, and said, you've got to help us. They're eating pets. You laughed at them. You dismissed them. You said that can't be because you realized this was an example of the failure of your immigration policy that makes no sense. Governor, you were saying that in, was it Worthington or some small town in Minnesota of 14,000? You heard 50 languages. That little town had to spend, you're saying had to pay $1.2 billion for ESL, English as a second language classes. And he should go through that. He should go through this. This was the chance. Now you listen to Uncle Lenny and you listen good. Okay? Believe me. I was recently watching, a little timeout, a little analogy. I was watching, and I do this every now and then. I listen to William Friedkin, who was the director of The Exorcist. And do you know what they said? The story of The Exorcist. The whole story wasn't about, he said, it's about fate. No. When her head spun around, the pea soup, your mother, remember the cross, all that stuff. That's what people remember. When you think of The Godfather, what do you think of? The lighting, direction? No. Leave the gun, bring the cannoli. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse. Keep your friends close and your enemies close. These wonderful moments, these little moments, these little things, these little zingers. There could have been last night, for the first time, somebody saying, they're eating cats and pets in Springfield, Ohio. I never heard of this. That's what I would have done. It would not have been polite. It would not have been nice. It would not have been a moment that it would be, but Tampon Timmy would have gone crazy. And let me explain something to you. Somebody said to me, I'm tired of hearing about the tampons. Really? Really? This is a governor who proudly says, I'm going to put in the boys' rooms, the men's restrooms, the boys' restrooms of schools, tampon dispensers. Why? Because I'm a radical left lunatic. People are going to say, he did what? Watch old Timmy. You've never explained that. You don't explain these, Governor Waltz, with all due respect. You and your running mate, you just run from it. The other day when she was in front of the world, supposedly, or supposedly, as people say, acting in response to Helene, she was there with her fake pad, her earpiece, doodling notes in this little room, pretending she was doing something, pretending she was in the command center. The other day, she wouldn't even take a question from people like you up to afterwards are not going to take a question at Justino's when you're asked about. But anyway, these are the things which you've never been able to say. Do you think, Mr. Governor, that you could just walk away? Do you think that when they say, Mr. President, what are you going to do if that ever happens? Regarding Hezbollah, regarding Iran, what do you think about Ukraine? What about this? What about that? What about the war? Are you going to just walk away? Is that what you're going to do? Like when they ask you for the second time about why you put tampon dispensers. What goes through your head? Out of all of the money for extra books, extra tutors, extra school security, I don't know how much those tampon machines cost, but do you think that maybe it would have been a good idea to have maybe security there? Do you think so? I promise you, there would have been people watching last night who said, tampon machines. Yeah, tampon machines. Because there are people that you know who've never heard this before. It's one of those things I can't figure out. I can't figure it out. I don't understand any of it. None of it. I don't understand any of it. It's one of those events, one of those moments, one of those things, one of those colossal events that are so, wow. There were Reagan. I've studied this, my friends. Remember when Nancy Reagan was seeing an astrologer? Things like that sticks, not moments of, Iran-Contra. Let me also say something to you. Nobody cares about abortion. Listen to Uncle Lenny. Nobody cares about abortion. That is a CBS lefty move. That's what they sit around in the enclaves of their little coffee shops and with their baristas in Williamsburg or Carroll Gardens or in Brooklyn or Calabasas or wherever they are. I don't know. Nobody cares about this. Most people watching have never had an abortion, never thought about having an abortion, and don't know anybody who's had an abortion. They make it sound like everybody's got an abortion. Sorry. I'm not saying it's not important. But this is a waste of time. Nobody's talking about that. I wish he would have said, Mr. Governor, why did you lie about your wife, Gwen, a lovely woman, having IVF versus IUI? And you doubled down. Why did you lie about the DUI arrest? You brought this up. I didn't. Why did you lie about your status, your command sergeant major versus master sergeant? There's a term for this, and I don't remember what it is, but it's something like, look, I'm not going to say you did this, but you are saying it. Look, I'm not going to use the word stolen valor, because I don't think you ever really intended. And you go through this. America needs leadership. It's the little things you lie about. You even told the whole country that you were the head coach. It wasn't even true. You can't, and I wish you'd say, Mr. Governor, please, with all due respect, look at me. Don't write notes. It's just like students in school who take notes. You never read the notes later. You never refer to them. Why are you taking notes? Pay attention to what's going on. Judas Goat says, not to be too conspiratorial, but tampons in the boys' room also emasculates the young boys, I think. Well, it's not conspiratorial. There's something that is, when you, let me explain something to you. When you do something to a kid, remember when they had changing stations in men's rooms? Remember that? Did you ever see a man change his baby in a men's room? I'm sure it's happened. Remember that all of a sudden you go in the men's room and I'd say, hey, what's going on? Every now and then, do you ever go to the men's room and you're standing at the urinals and some guy brings his daughter in? You ever see that one? It's very rare, but it's like, hey, and I don't know what the guy's supposed to do. It's with the kid. Sometimes they're so little it doesn't matter. But there were little things that mean a lot to kids. Remember, there was some Kindergarten Cop. There was this one scene where the kid says, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina. Remember that? And Arnold Schwarzenegger says, what the hell is this? Kids focus on things. So yeah, I agree with you. It's important. What went through you out of all the things you could have done that day, Governor, out of all of the things you could have done for the great people of the great state of Minnesota, this was top of your authority. Who has your ear? Who has your ear, sir? How are you? By what stretch? By what sheer, unmitigated lunacy do you, sir? I disagree. It would have. J.D. Vance, agree or disagree, was too nice. He was a gentleman. He was nice. Too Legit says, what do you feel J.D.'s responsibility will be in the new administration? Will it be something that will propel him to 2028? I hope so. I think Donald Trump has to realize Donald Trump is the president. Donald Trump is in charge. Donald Trump cannot be upscaled by some upstart. So he's going to do as much as he possibly can. The strongest vice president in the history of this country was Dick Cheney, without a doubt. Without a doubt. No doubt about this, okay? I'm going to say this again, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to Uncle Lenny. I'm telling you this. He was too nice. Now, you might have liked it as a personal thing. You might have said, you know what? I kind of like to see that. What does that do? Hey, I'm going to vote for that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. Why? He was so nice. Nobody thinks like that. You're using that as some kind of a, I don't know what you want to say, some kind of a, there was a case, there was a while back, years ago, was it Eyes Wide Shut? But there was also something on Broadway. I think it was Nicole Kidman, where she flashed her, the Blue Room, flashed her ass. Remember that one? Sold out. every night. Why? Because she flashed her ass. I remember one time Kate Burton went topless, and you know who also? Cynthia Nixon. And they have these moments. Hair. The only reason why people sat through hair was to see the moment where everybody was nude. And you can laugh at it. You can say, oh, that was tawdry. That's what got him in this. That's what got him there. Oh, by the way, as an aside, I know you don't care about this. One of the funniest and instrumental stories is what a dog of the show Robert Downey Jr. has. What's it called? McNeil or something? Or McNeil at on Broadway, Lincoln Center. I mean, it's a dog. It's a dog. They said people are going to want to see maybe to see, you know, Iron Man and come and they're going to, okay. And the play's a dog. And they're saying, what the hell's going on here? I don't know how much you're paying him. Wait till you see what they do to Clooney. Clooney, they're going to make it the second coming because they got to pay him back for all the stuff he does because they own Clooney. But that's a different story. Isn't that weird? Isn't it funny how things are changing? Little time out there. Yesterday I was reading. Do you know how much they paid Hoda Kotb, who's leaving? The woman who always looks like she's passing a bezoar, a hockey puck bezoar, like she's in tremendous pain. She's leaving. $20 million a year for this. And I think Jenna Bush may be kind of close to it. Now, say what you want. Oh, Rachel Maddow, 30 million. She's on 1 day a week. $30 million. Caitlin Collins, say what you want. I'm not a big fan, but if I were her agent, she is a star in that world, looking at the absolute value. The one with the eyebrows always looks like she's angry. She, in terms of absolute value, in terms of magnitude, not plus, not minus, but just, you know, she's a star in that world. She gets $3 million. And the moral of the story was, if she'd have been around 10 years ago, she'd be off the charts. They don't make this anymore. Listen to Uncle Lenny. Listen to me. Listen to me. Do you understand what's happening? They don't make this. Candace Owens, as an example, absolute value. Well, you like her or not, doesn't matter. She did something about, I don't know, some report about whether gay Mala's black or racial. I don't know. More people will see that than anything Nora O'Donnell has ever produced in her career. It's a different world. And understand from Uncle Lenny. I'm telling you, I love that Uncle Lenny. For those of you who want to know, years ago, when I was doing a live, some woman said she was watching, and the woman's mother was hearing my voice in the background. And she said, "Are you watching that Lenny guy again?" I just thought that was funny. So I'm Uncle Lenny. I'm like that curmudgeon uncle. Reminds me of Lenny Susskind, you know, Lenny. But anyway, Lenny Bruce, Lenny. In any event, this is a different world. This is a different world. I talked yesterday to somebody I've not talked to in, I don't even know how many years, 25 years. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe 20, maybe, who knows? I have no clue. 20 plus years ago, we used to work together. And I said, the world we worked in then doesn't exist today. And I know that. Look, I may be 66 years old, but I know what's happening in the world. And I'm always trying to say, tell me what's happening now. We have a cadre of young people. Let me tell you what if you think you're a conspiracy theorist, you should see what young folks say who are on TikTok. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe what they're saying about this dock strike. You can't, about containers and human cargo. You can't believe what's going on there. Do you know what they're saying about Verizon? That they're setting us up. There's going to be a big outage. You hearing this one? When they're talking about 6G, are you watching and listening to what they're saying about weather, about basically crafting and shaping the direction of hurricanes? Are you listening to this? Ryan says, if you watch the debate autopsy on CNN, CBS, ABC, etc., then watch MSNBC, it's like two different planets. Are they seriously trying to fool their audience into believing Waltz won? Yes. Yes. They want you to, how do I say this? They want you to believe that, absolutely. Marcus Ferguson said one word to potential Harris Waltz voters. Yes, don't. Like she said regarding Iran, don't. Johnny the Spaz, John Maz is bringing up his mother's drug problems off limits. Oh, well, listen, let me tell you something. Number one, listen to my story. My story is this. You don't want to hear my story. Don't listen to my story. I don't give a damn how you were raised in a log cabin. What is this, Lincoln? I'm in a log cabin. I shouldn't run for anything because I have no story. I was raised by great parents in a great family. Middle class. We weren't rich. Didn't know anything about rich. Just lived in a little suburb part of Tampa and went to school and just never did anything bad. My mother was a mom and my dad worked, and that's it. That's like 90% of the people. I was raised in a cabin. We used to eat beavers in a trap that we, what, nobody wants this. And you know what Trump says? Trump says, I never worked a day in my life. Trump, I never worked a day in my life. Trump says, I never did. I don't know. My father's a billionaire, a millionaire. I don't know. He doesn't run from it. This is over with. This doesn't make any sense anymore. That's why I listen to Lenny. I'm telling you, go for the throat. George Keane says, would you let Timmy pick you up from the airport? No. Well, you know what? He doesn't come across like demented. You know who do you think laughed as wait a minute. Call off the APB. We had all kinds of bunch of milk cartons printed up with old Sparky. I know you've been busy with what's going on with those in that other part of the world. Sparky says, before CNN sold out to the establishment, their pay, even for their honest main anchor, was notoriously low. Now that they're heavily subsidized, they pay them ludicrously high salaries to lie. Maybe not CNN now. I don't know what does what's his name? David, what the hell is his name? No, the guy who owns Discover Channel and CNN. What's his name? Huh? Yeah, Zaslav. Oh, they're just cutting these. CNN's done. They fired Tater. It's done. Let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is simply this. This is it. Last night I'm looking around here, and there are some people who do a hell of a job. Breaking points, whether you like them or not. I like them. They're young. They do their thing. And I say to them, you do. They were sitting around and they were laughing. It was fun. There was one I saw called Pod something. A bunch of people sitting around and they're just laughing. They're wearing shorts and they're wearing regular. This is today. I would say whatever you do on Lenny Vision, you come in and be yourself. I've told you this before. I'm a big fan. I've always liked him. He's been a gentleman to me. We've been friends for years. Sticks. Hexenhammer. Sticks. Good guy. Great guy. Smart as a whip. Just in turn, I would say you do your show like that. Everybody, you got your cat. You want to make you're in your vegetable garden, wherever the hell you're living. I don't care. Do it just like that. Not in the studio. Don't make him wear a tie. Put the Hawaiian shirt on. That's it. Judge Napolitano. There's a Judge Napolitano for judging freedom. What is this? He does this thing where he goes like that. I love him just the way he is. George Keane says, I'm waiting for the McNeil Lenny report. That's funny on PBS. That's very good. Very punny. This is the way it is. There was this story about, and Mrs. L will tell you, the people who live in the world of Broadway, I got news for you. You don't understand. Listen, I'm not going to spend whole lot of time. What is your out time? My out time, honey? What's my heart out? What's my heart out? 9:05. Okay. Mrs. L's got something to do. She's the queen of media. Lynn's Warriors. Let me just explain this to you. It's very simple. And I know this. Somebody has got to figure how to talk to people. And I told you this before. And I told you this, and I would say this, and nobody's listening. I would go to young people. I would be on TikTok. Screw these big, you know, when you're running for office in New York, in Jersey, you got to come to New York, the old days, and pay New York money for the advertising. And it was just ridiculous. Those days are over. They're done. One of the saddest groups of people in the world, one of the saddest. And I still think I've got a friend of mine. He's a good guy, good buddy of mine. His name is Mark Simone. He's on WOR. It's the only, I think you might want to say, it's the only talk radio that matters. It's on AM. It's terrestrial. It's the only one that matters. And I'm going to be on today at 10:40. And he's different. He's kind of like the old school. You know what I mean? And 10:40, I'm going to be on. Hang on. How? Look, I got to do a little promo here. I'm writing. This is my thing on Twitter. I wrote it. Join me at 10:40 a.m. ET when I join Mark Simone, New York City. This is on Twitter on 710 as we discuss inter alia how Waltz destroyed Tampon Timmy. So that's the story. That's it. That's the story. That's it. Okay. One of the things that you can't ask people to do today is you can't ask them to connect. There are some people who just can connect. Let me ask you this question. Of all the politicians you've seen, who can really connect? The one that I really, really like as a politician, the one I really like is Tulsi Gabbard. And I wasn't a big fan of hers before. When I mean that was, it was okay. It was okay. She was okay. I didn't go crazy over her, but she was okay. Bobby Kennedy, stiff, not warm, very good in a different capacity. Vivek, very smart. Want him in the cabinet, not as a leader. Tucker Carlson, wonderful as a host. You don't want him anywhere near leadership because it would kill him. You would destroy him. Certain people just have this thing. And I've never seen anything like it before. And nobody's got it. Maybe Reagan was the closest I've ever seen. And I would be on TV and I would be in these various platforms and I would be talking to people. And in one moment that's well produced, I would have on my staff people doing shorts and doing videos. Take my thing and put them up and saturate the world. Saturate. But I'd have to be able to convey to people. Waltz has that. He has that countenance. When I saw him, I'm saying, that's what I'm going to work with. That's what I would say. If somebody said, work with Waltz, what are you going to do? I say, very simple. Waltz is going to say, I hate to do this. That's his whole line. I hate to do this. I'm really a nice guy, but Governor, I'm sorry, my friend. I know, and there's nothing worse than somebody who sets you up. Look, I know you meant well. When somebody tells you that, you think, oh my God, look, I know you didn't mean anything by that. Look, I know you meant no hard feelings. Oh no, because you're about to lay the person out, but the way you do it. There's Sparky. Sparky says, worked on a project in Minnesota and surrounding states. Although nice, Minnesota's people have a very different paradigm than people in the surrounding states. Oh, yes. One of my oldest friends is a physician there, and he says there are parts that will rival what he's kind of a lib, but he said there are parts that will rival the most, red state there is. Evan says, yelling from the back of the station wagon, "Are we there yet?" Yes. I like that. I would say, listen, JD, we're going to sit around and I want you to just talk to me. And I'm going to put a camera and we're going to do, and I'm going to get some, I don't want you to talk about something. I don't want you to talk about you. We know the hillbilly elegy. I'm so goddamn tired of that stuff. I'm tired of this. I know your mother's enough. There are kids right now. There are black folks and regular kids in inner cities. You want to talk about addiction? You're not the only one. I got news for you. And it's not just black folks, but believe me, Mrs. L will tell you, she's got stories of people. You can't believe it when you hear it. You can't believe it. Crypto CD says 100% poll that was a wet flatus from Finland. You are focused on that, and I like that. JD has something which is terrific, but he didn't go in for the kill. He doesn't show the killer instinct. You know what I would do? Very simply, you know how to kill JD's thing? Let me ask you something. Can you imagine him with Putin? Him with Xi Jinping? Did you see Erdogan the other day meeting with, I keep saying Rafsanjani, with, whatever the, oh God, the sons of, who is it? One of the assassinated clerics, as they say. Did you see Erdogan? Did you see this guy? He's like almost stiff. He has this. Can you imagine Mr. Nice Guy JD dealing with that? Did you ever see when Putin walks into a room and his one arm moves, but the other one is stiff from his days with a gun with the KGB? You think old JD's going to handle that? You think so? He's a nice guy. You think so? These people, do you know that Xi Jinping actually applauded the imprisonment of his parents do you know how hardcore these people are? You think Mr. Nice Guy over there is going to, that's where Trump is. You need Trump. It's like it's like the Few Good Men. You need me on that wall. You need me. I'm the guy you need. So there's a balance there. But you sure as hell don't need old Waltz. You sure as hell don't need him. No way. Dear God Almighty, that was the most horrible thing. Do you know, what do you think happened when his wife says, "Honey, how'd I do?" Well, no, seriously. Well, look, debates aren't everything. What? No, I'm just, was I that bad? Well, it's hard to say bad. Bad is a tough word. He was horrible. There is some of the best jokes, and I can't do them right now. Evan says, I have a feeling General Alpha will end up pushing back hard from the woke movement. Oh, Gen Alpha, excuse me, General, listen to me. Maybe that's a slow thing coming. Don't worry about the time, honey. I'm going to be out hard at it. 9:05, right? Because I'm on a roll. See, we talk about this. Got a hard out. Don't read too much into this. Sparky says, for instance, South Dakota's people say, how can we get in on the tax-free thing like native reservations? Minnesotans are like, how can we get native reservations to pay taxes like we do? Now also, let me tell you something. Sparky would be my guy. When it comes time to the Middle East, he's in my cabinet. These guys had no. Do you think Waltz? Do you think that old tampon Timmy has any clue of what's going on? The gradations between Hezbollah, Hamas, about what's happening. Do you think this guy truly, or forget him? Put it this way, and I'm going to just leave you with this. I think almost the unimaginable was accomplished. I found somebody who's actually makes me think who is less competent than Kamala. I mean, if that was the goal, then that has succeeded. All right, dear friends, you are phenomenal. I want to thank you. Sparky, don't be a stranger. Billy, don't be a hero. Evan Webb, Crypto Domini, George Keene, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Maz, the Spaz, we love you. Marcus Ferguson, Ryan, Too Legit to Quit. Judas Goat Barbecue. Owe, thank you so much. Let me see who else is there. Oh, Kelly McKinnon, thank you for your gloriousness and your philanthropy, your intellectual perspicacity, as we say. And Raul, we love you. Thank you so much for this. What a time we had. We're going to be talking about this probably today. If you get a chance, by the way, dear friends, I'm going to be on the Mark Simone show. And Mark is a good guy, but he is the last of the individuals in a market, in a medium that is just, because believe me, I know when they're saying, during and by the way, this may be true, during disasters, a nice wind up radio, believe it or not, it's very important. Go to preparewithlionel.com. They got all kinds of emergency stuff. After Helene, this is the place to go. Preparewithlionel.com. All right, my friends. All right. Have a great and glorious day. We love you madly. Watch my stuff on Diddy. You can't imagine the hammer that's going to fall. And if this guy survives this, then every instinct they've ever had is incorrect. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight, 7 p.m. And until then, remember, my friends, as we always end with this valedictory, with this adios, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.